first we're gonna have to be face because we need to make it all cohesive. Okay, so today I'm gonna be doing a makeup look that's gonna go with my cheerleading uniform from high school because I'm gonna be trying that on and saying after 7 years, does it still fit? I'm sure it fits because I'm pretty much the same size, but I'm excited to try it on because I haven't tried it on since high school. So I'm gonna start off by using my James Charles Morphe palette. I might use another palette, but this is what I'm gonna start with. I miss cheering so much. Like, it was just the funnest experience I feel like I've ever had as far as like performing. Like, outside of my normal dance shows and dance routines and things like that, you know, cheerleading was a way that every week I could perform, and I am a performer. I just love to perform. I love to just be in front of crowds. That's just been my thing. And I actually became a cheerleader my first year of high school. So word on the street was that they did not let freshmen become cheerleaders, and I was just like, well, that's not fair because I wanted to be a cheerleader, and I didn't know that that was like, you know, a thing. Like, you know, you see it in the movies where they'd be like, oh, no freshmen or whatever, but I never thought in real life that was actually the case. And I just thought that was so weird, but I went and tried out anyway. So, you know, when you come into high school, like, you don't really have any friends. And when I went to try out, I was really by myself, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, it was very nerve-wracking because, you know, if you have somebody there with you, then it's like, okay, girl, we got this. But then it's like, if you're going by yourself and then they tell you like, you know, freshmen don't even make it, you're just like, what am I doing here? Until my friend Kayla was there, and she's actually a grade above me, and she is actually cousins with Jaria. And so she like introduced us, and then she was like, you know, I'm trying out. And so then I was just like, oh, I'm trying out. And Jaria's like, well, she's trying out. So we kind of just like all meshed like from that moment, and we all three of us made it. I was a flyer. So the flyer is the person that gets thrown in the air. And this cheerleading squad was more so consisting of like seniors and juniors, and so a lot of them, you know, already had their bonds and all that type of stuff. So when we came in, it kind of was like, it wasn't odd, it wasn't like, you know, they were mean or anything like that, but you can tell who had already been there. I was actually supposed to cheer at a game, and my uniform hadn't come yet, and I don't even think we ordered uniforms yet, but I didn't have a uniform, but I was supposed to be cheering at this game. And then my coach was like, go ask, you know, this other person on the team, since they're ineligible, ask them if you could, you know, use their uniform. We were like the same size, we were both small, so that's why she told me to ask her. But like, this girl, it was just, that wouldn't have been my first person that I would have asked. And you know, I asked her like, hey, you know, coach says to ask you if I can use your uniform because you can't cheer. And she said no, y'all. She was like, no. And I was just like, what? Like wow, okay. And so a few days later, she changes her mind, decides to let me wear her uniform, and then it turns out she's not even going to be cheering anymore. So she ended up letting me buy the uniform from her. To get a uniform made, it was a long process. You had to submit your sizes and all that type of stuff. So typically everybody just either bought the uniform from the person that was like either leaving. And this was my first game. I'll insert a picture on this side, but it was actually really fun. Like I said, I love to perform. I cheered all 4 years of high school. Like, there was a moment in time where a lot of the cheerleaders just fell off, and it was just like 4 of us. And my coach was like, you know, do y'all still want to cheer? And we're like, hell yeah. Like, we didn't care that it was only 4 of us. We really cared about cheering and just bringing that energy and performing. So we would go out there and cheer with only like 4 people, and we would go to other schools. Like, you know, obviously you go to other schools when you guys have games, and it was like, I think it was Mac. Mac always had a deep squad, and that was probably one of our favorite schools to actually cheer against. They had a very exciting crowd, I would say. Their crowd always showed up for their games. Like, oh my gosh, if you're not from Oakland, you need to ask about Mac. Mac is probably one of the most unified alumni schools in the Bay Area, honestly. Like, they do not play when it comes to their school. We did some really heavy recruiting I think it was my junior year. And we turned that squad from like 4 people into like 20 girls. We had a lot of girls that year, and that was one of my favorite years because we had the most stunt groups that we ever had. So I was the flyer. So I was the one that they were throwing in the air, the one that they were catching. And honestly, you guys, I did not like it because I was afraid of heights. And so it's like to take somebody who's afraid of heights, but because of the smallest person on the team, they had to throw me in the air. So it was like really scary for me because like I said, I did not like heights. And my coach was like, girl, get up there. And being that I like to be the center of attention, I was like, I'm gonna get up there, but y'all better not drop me. But eventually it got better, and my stunt group, they were always, you know, on it. Nobody ever dropped me. I never fell. And so I felt really comfortable with them. So I felt comfortable being a flyer. I don't think I would have had as much fun in high school as I did if I wasn't a cheerleader. I still remember the dances. I know I'm really like when I tell you guys I'm a dancer, like I remember damn near all the dances that I've ever learned, like dances from 7 years ago that we did in cheerleading. I still remember some of them. Oh, and if I didn't mention yet, so my school colors were blue and silver, blue, white, and silver. So that's why I'm doing a blue makeup look, because, you know, I wanted to match the uniform. And this, if I knew how to beat my face like this back when I was cheering, oh, this would have definitely been the look every game day. Okay, so I went ahead to finish my other eye off camera as well as adding a wing to this look. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into our skin. I'm gonna be mixing these two foundations today. I don't know why I'm gonna be mixing these two. I just haven't used the matte Fenty foundation in a long time, and my Lancome one is just a little too light. So I'm gonna just mix them together and see what it do. You know, I actually got into cheerleading, or like really wanted to be a cheerleader, because my mom was a cheerleader, guys, and pretty much anything my mom did, I was like, I'm gonna do it too. Like my mom played clarinet, and when I went to middle school, they're like, oh, you can play an instrument, and I picked clarinet. Knowing damn well I didn't know nothing about no clarinet. And it was just funny because like being in high school, my mom would like tell me about her experiences being, you know, a high school cheerleader, and she would be like, girl, y'all's not no real cheerleaders. And I would be so offended. I'd be like, girl, what do you mean we not no real cheerleaders? But it was more of like, we didn't do all the things that, you know, regular cheerleaders did. So we didn't go to camp until my sophomore year. And then, like I said, all the girls was gone. So it just really didn't matter because we had to teach all the new girls that we got everything that we learned. So I, you know, obviously I went to school in Oakland, and, you know, they didn't really have all the best, you know, things for Oakland schools and stuff like that. So we had to fundraise, you know, do things on our own. I really enjoyed being, you know, the second generation of cheerleaders, if you will, because my mom would tell me, you know, oh, you need to be doing this better, or you need to do that. And like I said, I came from an Oakland school, so as far as like what we were doing stuff the Oakland way. It was just really funny because you could tell when we cheered against different schools. Like, I don't want to say you could tell we was from Oakland, but you could tell we was from Oakland. I don't know if the MAC cheerleaders went to camp, but I know for a fact Skyline's cheerleaders did, because their cheerleaders were on point. Dance-wise, MAC was the one who was, you know, they was fucking with us. But as far as stunting goes, I think Skyline was definitely up there. And it was just fun because it was like, you know, certain schools you look forward to cheering against because they were so good. And it was just like that kind of, that, you know, it was like that kind of rivalry it was a healthy rivalry because it was always love afterwards. It wasn't really, I don't think it was no hater stuff after, but I could be wrong, you know. On game days, I actually was one of the people that would be like,
let's go do our makeup in the bathroom and let's skip fourth period.
Like, that was me. And it was actually all of us. So we'd be in the bathroom literally with flat irons, makeup, ribbon, all the stuff. But I feel like we weren't those mean kind of cheerleaders, or at least I really hope we weren't. I hope that never came off as like, you know, who we were. It's just like a family. Like, you know, we obviously fought and had, you know, some beefs on the squad, but besides that, like, I feel like the girls that we had were just like a really solid group of girls. Like, I mean, I would say I would recommend, you know, if you're young, if you're still in high school, if you're trying to make friends and you're getting ready to go to high school, like, to try out for the team. But like, who knows what life is gonna be like after this whole pandemic stuff. Like, ain't no teams right now, no sporting events, no none of that. So it's just like, I have no idea what, you know, the future is going to hold. But if things do go back to normal, you know, schools open up and we're able to have games and stuff like that. Damn, I set my forehead before I actually did this contour. That's why this looked like this. Ugh. But I would definitely say to try out for the team, whether it be, you know, the football team, it could be the basketball team, the soccer team, the swim team, whatever it might be that you're interested in. I definitely feel like that makes your high school experience just so much better. I'd like to say I came out okay, but you know, it's a new age too. These kids don't let up. These kids got social media, and we had Facebook when I got to high school, but you know, it wasn't like how it is today. So yeah, we kind of grew up in different eras, but I still think some things don't change. And I think being on a team is always going to be good for you just personally. It's going to be good for you morally, and it's going to help you in life as you get older. Because surprisingly, they look at that stuff on resumes. Like, they be like, you know, have you ever been on a team? Have you ever worked with a team? And being on a cheerleading team or any kind of high school team does count. So that's why I think it's just like, it helps prepare you in so many different ways than you would know. Okay guys, so here is the makeup look. Now let's go ahead and let's try on our uniform. Alrighty guys, so this is me in my uniform from 7 years ago. This is very nostalgic for me. Like, it really doesn't feel like it was that long ago. Like, honestly, like I said, I remember all the dance moves. I remember dancing all the cheers, and it's just so crazy because I'm just like, wow, I haven't changed at all. Like, besides getting older, I haven't even changed. Like, my body's still the same. In high school, I remember I used to like intentionally try to like pull it up and make it like as short as I can make it, of course, with some little high school thotties. I hope you guys enjoyed watching today's video and reminiscing with me. If you guys like this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you are not subscribed, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.